This is Transportation Secretary Tim Gatz. This meeting of the Oklahoma Transportation Commission is being conducted with a quorum of commissioners in person and by video conference, with some commissioners attending remotely. The public access will be monitored by ODOT to ensure that we maintain an audio connection. And I would advise that this morning we are having some technical difficulties with our network connection. If we lose that network connection, we still have a quorum as required in the commission room, and we are in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. We will attempt to reestablish that connection, but if we are unable to, the live stream of the meeting will be available after the meeting's completion, and we'll make sure that that gets posted. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would turn the microphone over to you to open the meeting.
Thank you. Good morning. I hereby call this meeting to order. I have just a few instructions to help our meetings go smoothly. Please keep your microphones on mute until you are ready to speak. Only members of the commission and the presenters on the agenda will be recognized to speak. Remember to announce your name before speaking each time so we can keep accurate minutes for the record. Please direct your questions, comments, and motions to the chair, and I will recognize you. Roll call votes will be conducted with the commission secretary reading off each commissioner's name. Commissioners, please state your name when you vote. The secretary will call the roll. Remember to unmute your mic and state your name when speaking.
Mr. Coburn.
Coburn, yes. Here.
Mr. Grimsley.
Grimsley here.
Mr. Shannon. Mr. Freimiller.
Freimiller here.
Mr. McCowan. Mr. Dyson.
Dyson here.
Mr. LaForge.
LaForge here.
Mr. Alexander.
Alexander here.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson here. Item 149 is approval of the minutes of the Transportation Commission meeting on November 2nd, 2020. Do I have a motion for approval of item 149?
Grimsley seconds.
Thank you. Any discussion? The secretary will call the roll. Excuse me, Sherry.
Mr. Coburn.
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley.
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Freimiller.
Freimiller, yes.
Mr. Dyson.
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge.
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes. Motion's approved. The consent docket contains items 150 and 151. These items were discussed in detail in our committee meetings. If any commissioner would like to pull an individual item out for discussion, he may do so at this time. Otherwise, I'd hear a motion for approval of the consent docket.
Motion Dyson.
Do I have a second?
Second, Alexander.
The secretary will call the roll, please.
Mr. Coburn.
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley.
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Freimiller.
Freimiller, yes.
Mr. Dyson.
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge.
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes. Thank you. Item 152 is a programming item. Mr. Tigler, you're recognized to present. Please state your name before proceeding.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Tim Tegler, Director of Engineering for ODOT. Item 152, I have programming item, only one this month. It's in Tulsa County and Commission District 8. The department requests approval to program a project to repair vehicle impact damage to 65th West Avenue over US 64. The estimated cost of this project is $40,000. This project can be ready for a May 2021 letting, and the party responsible for the damage is known. Approval is recommended.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 152?
Freimiller, approved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Grimsley seconds.
And any discussion? Hearing none, the secretary will call the roll.
Mr. Coburn.
Coburn, yes.
Grimsley.
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Freimiller.
Freimiller, yes.
Mr. Dyson.
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge.
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes. Mr. Tigler, you may continue with item 153, engineering contracts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This again is Tim Tegler, Director of Engineering. I have 3 contracts this month. Part A is statewide all districts, our on-demand environmental studies contract. We have these contracts with Able Consulting, C.H. Guernsey and Company, CC Environmental, Cox McLean Environmental Consulting, CP&Y, Friesen Nichols, Garver, Olson, and Team Design. These 9 contracts it is estimated at $1.8 million, basically $200,000 each. Part B in Bryan County, Commission District 2. We have selected Garver to provide preliminary engineering for US 70 over Lake Texoma, which is the Roosevelt Bridge. Services to include survey, environmental, geotech investigations, and all the preliminary engineering. Total not to exceed amount for this contract is $3,538,938. The 2 job pieces are included in the 8-year construction plan. The total estimate for this construction is $150 million. Part C in Jackson County and Commission District 5. Department has selected EST to prepare construction plans for State Highway 19. Services include geotech investigations, pavement design, preliminary and final design. Total not to exceed amount is $540,200. This job piece is included in the 8-year construction work plan, scheduled let date in 2023. Estimate for the construction is $9.7 million. Approval is recommended, and I'll try to answer any questions if you gentlemen have anything this morning.
Thank you. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 153?
Dyson motion.
Alexander second.
Second, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, the secretary will call the roll.
Mr. Coburn,
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley,
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Frymiller,
Frymiller, yes.
Mr. Dyson,
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge,
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes. Mr. Tegler, you may continue with item 154, engineering contract supplements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My engineering contract supplements are 3 parts. Again, this is Tim Tegler, Director of Engineering. Part A is Pottawatomie County, Commission District 3. We previously authorized CEC Corporation to prepare construction plans for I-40. The supplement for additional engineering is to develop the final construction plans. Supplement not to exceed amount is $215,352. These job pieces listed here are in the 8-year construction work plan with scheduled let date of 22, 23, and 26. Estimate for construction is just a little over $81 million. Part B in Oklahoma County, Commission District 4. We previously authorized Poe and Associates to perform engineering and final design plans for reconstruction of the I-35, I-240 interchange. Supplement not to exceed amount is $2,718,000. These job pieces here listed are an 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date of 21, 23, 25, and this is over the next 3 to 4 years. This is estimated at $116 million. And finally, Part C is Payne County, Commission District 4. Previously authorized Tetra Tech to perform preliminary engineering and final design plans for State Highway 51. This supplement is for additional engineering to develop the final construction plans. Supplement not to exceed amount is $395,000. This job piece is also included in the 8-year construction work plan, let date of 2024. Estimate for the construction is just close to $18.5 million. Approval is recommended. I'll try to answer any questions if you have any this morning.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 154?
Frymiller, approve.
Okay, and a second?
Dyson second.
And any discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Coburn,
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley,
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Frymiller,
Frymiller, yes.
Mr. Dyson,
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge,
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes. Item 155 is change orders with a cumulative total of $75,000 or less. Mr. Leonard, you are recognized to present. Please state your name before proceeding.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. This is John Leonard, ODOT State Construction Engineer. I would like to present item number 155, parts A through C. These are change orders on projects which have a cumulative total of change orders of $75,000 or less. This item is presented for your information only and no action is necessary, but I'd be glad to answer any questions.
These change orders were discussed in detail in our committee meetings earlier. If there are no questions, Mr. Leonard, you're recognized to present item 156, change orders with a cumulative total greater than $75,000.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is John Leonard, State Construction Engineer again. I'd like to present item number 156, parts A through B. These are change orders on projects which have a cumulative total of change orders greater than $75,000. Your approval is recommended, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Commissioners, you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 156?
LaForge, I move for approval.
And do I have a second?
Alexander second. Coburn second.
And any discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Coburn,
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley,
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Frymiller,
Frymiller, yes.
Mr. Dyson,
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge,
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes.
Thank you.
Item 157 is the proposed bid openings. Mr. Hackney, you're recognized to present. Please state your name before proceeding.
This is Robert Hackney, Project Funding Manager. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Item 157, proposed bid openings, consists of the final February 2021, the tentative March 2021, and the tentative April 2021 bid openings. The department recommends. Be happy to answer any questions.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 157?
Motion by Grimsley.
And do I have a second?
Dyson, second.
And any discussion? Hearing none, the secretary will call the roll.
Mr. Coburn,
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley,
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Frymiller,
Frymiller, yes.
Mr. Dyson,
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge,
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes. Item 158 is the settlement of claim for rock excavation to Kolb Grading, LLC. Mr. Davis, you are recognized to present. Please state your name before proceeding.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. This is Sean Davis, the Director of Operations. I'm presenting item number 158, which is the settlement of a non-adversarial claim by the contractor, Kolb Grading. This is on a project in Field District 2 in Latimer County, near the Pittsburgh County line on US 270. The geotech report for this contract indicated that rock would be encountered throughout the project, with the material being able to be ripped by conventional methods. However, during the course of construction, the rock encountered was discovered to be too hard to be ripped and required additional unanticipated work to excavate. The residency and the district both agreed that this added work qualified as a differing site condition. However, when change order number 3 was processed for the payment of the rock excavation, it was realized that the payment for the entire quantity exceeded the statutory limits for the contract, thus the submission of this claim. The entitlement for this claim is recognized by the department, and it is recommended that the commission authorize a settlement for the claim in the amount of $207,642.08.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 158?
LaForge.
So moved by Shannon.
Do I have a second?
Second, Frymiller.
Okay. Any discussion? If none, the secretary will call the roll.
Mr. Coburn,
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley,
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Shannon,
Yes.
Mr. Frymiller,
Frymiller, yes.
Mr. Dyson,
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge,
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes. Item 159 is the 2020 to 2040 Oklahoma Public Transit Policy Plan. Mr. Swift, you are recognized to present. Please state your name before proceeding.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. I'm Matthew Swift with the Strategic Asset and Performance Management Division. ODOT, in collaboration with statewide transit stakeholders, has completed the 2020 through 2040 Oklahoma Public Transit Policy Plan. This plan is in response to House Bill 1365, which requires ODOT to develop an all-inclusive plan for all public transit systems in Oklahoma. The plan reflects the needs that were identified by the 2018 Oklahoma Transit Needs Assessment, includes stakeholder input from across Oklahoma, and provides for future collaboration and coordination among all agencies with an interest in public transit. Following this presentation and with commission approval, the plan will be submitted to the governor and state legislature. Commission approval is recommended.
Thank you. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 159?
Motion by Grimsley.
And do I have a second?
LaForge, second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Secretary will please call the roll.
Mr. Coburn,
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley,
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Frymiller,
Frymiller, yes.
Mr. Shannon,
Shannon, yes.
Mr. Dyson,
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge,
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes. Thank you. Item 160 is the awards. Mr. Dels, you are recognized to present. Please state your name before proceeding.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Anthony Dels, Office Engineer. Item 160 are the department's recommendations from the November 19th bid opening. My items in two parts today. Part A is a deferral from last month's bid opening, the October 15th bid opening. The following item referred to by call order was deferred for the October 15th bid opening. It is now recommended that that item be awarded to the low bidder, and that was call order 285. Part B is with regard to the November 19th bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the November 19th bid opening referred to by call order be awarded. That's call orders 410, 430, 470, 480, 490, 500, 510, 520, 530, 540, 560, 565, 570, 580, 590, 600, 610, 620, and 630. It is recommended that the following item from the November 19 bid opening referred to by call order be rejected, and that's call order 550. This concludes the department's recommendations for award, and your approval is requested.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 160?
LaForge, move for approval.
Alexander, second.
Excuse me. Thank you. Any discussion? All right, Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Coburn,
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley,
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Frymiller,
Frymiller, yes.
Mr. Shannon,
Shannon, yes.
Mr. Dyson,
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge,
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item 161 is the Asset Preservation Plan. Mr. Nguyen, you are recognized. Please state your name before proceeding.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. My name is Daniel Nguyen with the Project Management Division. Item 161 is the Asset Preservation Plan. The department has completed the proposed Asset Preservation Plan with consideration for the critical needs of Oklahoma's transportation infrastructure and the financial constraint mandated by the projected federal and state funding availability. The work plan is balanced by district within the budgetary limitations of state fiscal years 2021 through 2024. The encompassed projects have been defined, validated, and included in accordance with the transportation needs and priorities of the state. This item is for information only and no commission action is required, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
If there are no questions, Mr. Nguyen, you are recognized to present item 162, the 8-year construction work plan.
Thank you. Daniel Nguyen again with the Project Management Division. Item 162 is the 8-year construction work plan. The department has completed the proposed 8-year construction work plan with consideration for the critical needs of Oklahoma's transportation infrastructure and the financial constraint mandated by the projected federal and state funding availability. The work plan is balanced by district within the budgetary limitations of federal fiscal year 2021 through 2028. The encompassed projects have been defined, validated, and included in accordance with the transportation needs and priorities of the state. The department will ensure the long-term budgetary integrity of the plan and the continuity of the projects through the active management of the project development and delivery process. Commission approval of the 2021 through 2028 construction work plan is recommended.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 161?
Actually, 162.
Excuse me, 162.
LaForge,
Thank
move
you.
for approval of item
162.
162.
Dyson, second.
And any discussion? All right, Secretary will call the roll.
Mr. Coburn,
Coburn, yes.
Mr. Grimsley,
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Shannon,
Shannon, yes.
Mr. Fry Miller,
Fry Miller, yes.
Mr. Dyson,
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge,
LaForge, yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes. Item 163 is the Director's Report. Secretary Gatz, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I would start by making a little bit of special recognition. And Steve Jacoby, our state bridge engineer, has advised us that after 34 years of service to the state of Oklahoma, he's going to retire. Steve has had a very illustrious career with the Department of Transportation and has contributed significantly to the success that we've had with achieving some pretty major accomplishments in our structurally deficient bridge numbers. Again, he has been a tremendous advocate for investment in bridge infrastructure across the state. And again, it's one of those bittersweet days. We certainly are going to miss Steve, but we wish him well in his future endeavors. And one of the things that we do for significant contributors to transportation in Oklahoma is we recognize their service with a Route 66 brick that was taken from Route 66 in Arcadia. And we have one here that we will make sure makes its way into Steve's hands. I know he's on the line, and we'll recognize him for just a minute if he's got a comment he'd like to make, Mr. Chairman, if that's okay with you.
Certainly.
But I would read the inscription on the brick. The Oklahoma Department of Transportation recognizes State Bridge Engineer Steve Jacoby for his 34 years of service to Oklahoma. Bridges and bow ties hallmark a career conducted professionally and humbly. Oklahoma highway bridges rose to 9th in the nation from nearly last, thanks to his leadership, intelligence, knowledge, and teamwork. He was instrumental in Shake Cass development, the Interstate 235 Burlington Northern Santa Fe bridge replacement, and the Purcell Lexington bridge replacement. The department is proud to present him with this commemorative brick from historic Route 66 in Arcadia in honor of his retirement. And this is signed by Governor Kevin Stitt, Chairman Gene McCown on behalf of the Transportation Commission, and myself as Secretary of Transportation and Director of the Department of Transportation. So with that, Mr. Chairman, Steve, if you're on with us, we'd certainly invite you to make a comment if you choose to.
Well, thank you, Mr. Secretary. It's been an honor for these past 6 years to lead Bridge Division. I was humbled when I was selected for this position, and it's been a thrill to oversee the day-to-day operations of Bridge Division. I'd always said that some of our bridge people are the sharpest knives in the ODOT technical drawer, and I still hold that to be true. We've made great progress over the years in improving our bridges. When I came in 1986, as a young structural engineer right out of college, some of our bridges I'd look at and think, how on earth is this thing still holding up? And over the past 6 years, the number of things that have kept me awake at night have dwindled down to near zero. I'm going to miss the professional and personal relationships I've made through my 34 years here at the department. I miss working with all the design divisions, the field divisions, and construction of our new bridges. And hopefully in my new role, which I embark on next year, I will still be able to maintain some of these relationships. But again, thank you. And I appreciate your kind words there.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you for your service. Mr. Chairman, The commission considered and approved our 8-year construction work plan this morning for 2021 through 2028. That plan has over $6 billion and more than 1,300 critical highway and bridge improvement projects included. We appreciate your consideration and your work as we developed that 8-year construction work plan, and certainly want to appreciate the district engineers for their work around putting this together and all the folks that contribute to getting that ready. Again, this is a year when we had some extreme budgetary challenges to deal with. We'll continue to work with the governor and the legislature to try to make sure that we continue making transportation an investment priority for the state of Oklahoma, and appreciate your consideration and approval of the 8-year plan this morning. Also appreciate your approval of the transit plan. I would like to thank all of the stakeholders who were directly involved in helping us assemble that plan. Something we're very proud of. I'd like to specifically recognize Director of the Oklahoma Transit Association, Mark Neslin, and his membership. I think Mark is on the line with us this morning, and we certainly appreciate his fellowship and partnership as we put that plan together. Again, it's extremely important for Oklahoma's future. And later this week, on December the 10th at about 2 o'clock, we're going to present the plan in accordance with the requirements of House Bill 1365 to the legislature over at the Capitol. So your approval this morning made that possible, and we really appreciate your consideration. So thank you very much for that. And in closing, I would give you just a little bit of a quick update on the progress of the continuing resolution budget discussions in Washington, D.C. As of this morning, it sounds like the Congress may be looking at a short-term, maybe 1-week extension to give themselves a little bit more time to consider the coronavirus relief and packaging a full year's worth of budget coming out of this. So again, as of this morning, it looks like we may get a 1-week extension of the current continuing resolution as they work to try to develop a longer-term solution that will carry us through the end of the fiscal year. Mr. Chairman, with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have of me, and appreciate the Commission's participation this morning in this meeting. I'd also, if you wouldn't mind, just advise that this meeting format will look very similar for the January meeting, and we will hold to this format as long as we continue to conduct these types of in-person meetings. So again, thank you, gentlemen, for coming in this morning and helping us assemble a quorum.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Commissioners have any more questions or comments to make? And while we do have a quorum in this room, can we please have confirmation that the meeting's audio feed was uninterrupted?
Report that ODOT has been monitoring the public video and audio connection throughout the meeting, and it's been reported to me that the public video and audio connection have been maintained.
Very good. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion Dyson.
Do I have a second?
Ford second.
Ford second. Thank you. Secretary, Sherry, please call the roll.
Mr. Coburn. Mr. Coburn.
Coburn, yes.
Grimsley.
Grimsley, yes.
Mr. Shannon.
Shannon, yes.
Mr. Miller.
Miller, yes.
Dyson.
Dyson, yes.
Mr. LaForge.
Ford, yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Alexander, yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Peterson, yes.
The time is now 11:30 a.m. and we are ready to conclude this meeting.
We are adjourned. Thank you.